Hello and welcome again to my channel. My name is Chinedu Abwim, and in this video I'm going to be answering a question that a few people have asked me in time past, and that question is this: how does the UAE work? So in this channel, if this is your first time, in this channel I share tips, wisdom, ideas, job opportunities and business opportunities, and everything that it requires for you to be able to prosper and to thrive in the UAE. So I super welcome you and thank you for coming to this channel if this is your first time. If this is not your first time, I also super welcome you and thank you for clicking on this video. So like I said, I'm going to be answering the question, how does the UAE work, in this video. It's going to be a short video and I'll be to the point and explain a few things that I have understood about how the UAE works. Number one, the UAE is an Islamic environment, but the good thing about the UAE is that they're also tolerant of other religions, but they don't advocate or they don't support you trying to convert someone from Islam into whichever religious bias that you have. The second thing about the UAE is that the UAE is multicultural and multinational, very welcoming to people from all parts of the world. Another thing you will also need to know about how the UAE works is that the UAE is essentially a tourist environment. Of course, the oil part also brings in funds into the UAE economy, but the UAE has opened itself to tourism in a way that has made the UAE to be the choice tourism destination for most people all around the world, especially the Emirates of Dubai. And speaking about Emirates, another thing to know about the UAE is that the UAE actually has 7 different emirates, and all these emirates are controlled by royal families. They are controlled by monarchs and they are called sheikhs. Now, when people talk about the UAE, people who haven't come here think about Dubai only because Dubai is the most popular, but actually Dubai is just one of the emirates. Another one is Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the UAE. Another one is Sharjah. Another one is Ajman. Another one is Ras Al Khaimah. Another one is Umm Queen. Another one is Fujairah. So there are 7 emirates that form the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Another thing also to note about the UAE is that the UAE has strong value for family, strong value for women, strong value for children, and that is a wonderful thing. So you see situations where you come into a metro, and when you see a woman or you see a woman with children, the men stand up from their seats and allow the women to sit down. And that is a beautiful and fantastic culture and flavor that you will observe in the UAE. Then, UAE does not tolerate criminality or crime. That is what makes it one of the safest countries in the entire world. And one other thing which is quite important, which I must mention, is that in the UAE there is actually zero income tax. So you come here and you work, whatever money you get, no government is going to tax it, nobody is going to tax it. What you work for, what you earn, is what you eat and what you enjoy. And a lot of people love the UAE for that. And then added to that, there is this free trade environment in the UAE, which makes Dubai, particularly, and other emirates in the UAE fantastic places for people who want to do international business. So these, in a nutshell, are my answer to the question a few people have asked me of how the UAE works. There are a whole lot of other things, but this is in a nutshell what there is, what I think there is about the UAE, what I think the flavor is about the United Arab Emirates. So if there's more that you know, please put it in the comments. I would also like to know, and I would also like us to share ideas. Remember, the important thing is for each and every one of us in this channel to prosper and to thrive in the UAE. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and clicking on the notification bell so that as more and more videos come every single week, you will be the first to know and the first to enjoy. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next.